Aloha, I'm State Representative Cindy Evans, and thank you for joining me today on my program, Now What? I try to find some really interesting topics that I think you would enjoy hearing about and also learning more about our community and what we do in our community. I'm a state representative from the Big Island. I represent North Kona and South Kohala. And again, thanks for being here today. My guest today is George Ariyoshi.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Really pleased that you're willing to come and talk with me today about a subject that's really important, and it's tourism is the topic I thought we should discuss. For those who don't know, Governor George Ariyoshi was our governor for 12 years, and I really thought that we could start the first part of our program talking a little bit about you and your background and your becoming governor and your experience of the transition from the big five employers in Hawaii and how we moved into tourism as a viable part of our economy. So I'll ask you to kind of give us some insight.
Well, I became a politician without wanting to become a politician, because back in 1954, just 30 days before the primary election, I decided I would become a candidate at the urging of then Governor Burns. He was not governor then, but he was chairman of the Democratic Party. And when I first met him, he asked me questions like, oh, how did I feel about growing up here in Hawaii? Did I feel differently? I told him, no, I didn't feel any discrimination. I got along with everybody. We played and worked and sometimes even fought with other people. But then he said, how do you feel now? I said, well, now that I'm back here practicing law, I just started to do that. I feel that there's a bit of discrimination here. You got to be at the right clique. You get up to a certain level and you can't break that barrier unless you belong with part of the group. And so I became very concerned about that. So he told me, well, run for office. And I thought I didn't know he was talking about running for office this year. Yeah. And he said, no, this year. And I thought he was talking, somebody else turned around and said, no, you run for office this year. And he told me there'll be other people running, and he wanted to do that. But at the time that he told me that, it was only 3 days before the filing deadline, and only 33 days before the primary election. Then you keep in mind that at the time that I ran for office, we only had 2 representative districts on this island. And so my district, which I was going to run in, was the dividing line with Nuano Avenue, and it went completely around the island, Waipahu, out to Haleiwa, and out to Waianae, Nanakuli, Kahuku, back to Kaneohe. And that was a district, huge district. And when I made that decision, I had only 30 days really to get ready for the campaign. And we had to organize, get our material printed, put together. So we had a very busy time, and I was very fortunate making the primary and then getting to the general election another 30 days. And when I got elected, I told myself, wow, what am I going to do now? And I knew why I ran for office, but we had not had time to really think through about how we were going to make that happen. And the reason why I ran was because I wanted equal opportunities for every one of Hawaii's people. And I didn't care whether or not somebody beat me, but I didn't want that person to beat me unless that person was better than me, not because he had the connections. And so when we started off after the election, I thought about what we were going to do, and I thought myself that I was not going to take away any opportunity that somebody had at that particular time and merely transfer it to somebody else, because if we did that, we're going to do the same thing they were doing before. And I concluded that the only way we could really make it happen was to create more opportunities for more people in Hawaii to participate. And so that's what I began to feel very strongly about. Then we looked at Hawaii and more opportunities for Hawaii. At that time, in 1954, with the Big Five controlled the economy, it was very difficult for us to see very many different kinds of opportunities. But tourism was one that we felt could really make it possible for us to involve more people. And so we pushed very hard to help get the tourist industry built up. There were some people who were saying that, oh, it's cheap labor, they don't get paid very much. But to me, it was important for us to have a start, and for us to start there and then improve the quality of life for those who get involved in the tourism industry. And I think that has happened over the years.
Well, you know, Governor, what strikes me is a lot of us talk about ideas and plans and vision, but how did you equate that to an action plan? How did you actually get from, I think we need to expand into tourism to create more jobs for Hawaii, but how did it actually happen? How did you make that happen?
Well, for one thing, what we tried to do was to talk to industry people. We had very limited hotel rooms up back here in Hawaii at that time, and we wanted more rooms for more people to come to Hawaii. We also felt that we had to go out and try to promote that the people. And so we talked to, and we didn't do a lot of traveling back in those days. We stayed at home, we tried to take care of the house at home. But we talked to the people who were involved in the industry, offered them support and told them how important we felt it was for us to have more people coming to Hawaii so they can bring opportunities that did not exist before that time.
Did you create jobs in state government that supported the local tourist industry? Did you create did you see an expansion? You know, obviously we have this discussion today, right? We've got Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism. So now we have actually staff in government that try to assist. We have the Hawaii Tourism Authority, we have Convention Bureau, we have Visitors Bureaus. So from this idea that you're talking about in 1954, look at how this has grown over the years. And I mean, eventually in this conversation, I want to get to, okay, we started here, now we've gone this far. You know, a lot of stuff happened in between, a lot of growth spurts, a lot of flat times. So what was government's role?
Well, I felt that government had a responsibility of trying to support the marketing, the side of the business. But I did not feel that it's appropriate for government to interfere on the operation side of business. And I felt that that's a private sector business. It ought to be run by the private sector, and they run the operations and control their own costs. What we wanted to do was to help them so we can get customers into their hotels. And that's what I felt was the role of the government at that time. So much so that when I was governor, they were talking, the industry was talking about wanting a tourism job, a tourism department. And I told them, you don't know what you're asking for, because I think that you would not want to see the government involved in telling you all the things you have to do in tourism, and that you must have that freedom to do what you have to do in order to have a good tourism base. And that government help you in the marketing side. The HVB and those dollars that came through the government was really, in my judgment, an effort to help get people here in Hawaii. Once they got here, I felt that the private sector had to take it up and be able to take care of the people and to give them the housing, the food, and the quality of life that to make it possible people wanted to come back again.
I agree, but let's talk about just what changed over time. And I'm thinking along the lines of airplanes, cheaper travel, all of a sudden people being able to be repeat tourists over and over again, much more affordable. So all of a sudden, more and more people come to Hawaii, more and more hotel rooms built, and all of a sudden you have the tourist industry thinking, how do we keep attracting the repeat tourists? So then it gets into that whole discussion of, do we have to create things for people to do? So you know what I'm leaning towards, you know, things like a motorsport park, or the Honolulu Marathon, or the Pro Bowl, you know, I mean, all of a sudden now, and then government gets drawn into that discussion, right? Because if the tourist industry believes you have to have things to do or other attractions other than just the beach and the nice weather and the really wonderful culture we have here, I mean, should government play a role in that?
Well, it depends on whether or not you believe that there should be a lot more activities. I believe the other way, I believe that it's better for us to create the kind of setting in Hawaii. We have a nice climate, we have good people, the aloha spirit that exists out here, but some of the cultural activities that also can bear on people wanting to come to Hawaii. A nice place for Hawaii people to come and relax. And to me, that's very important. And so I believe that the private sector should be the one who make it possible for people to want to come back to Hawaii. I ran the Prince Resort here in Hawaii right after I left the governor's office. I was asked to head the Prince operation. We had the Prince Hotel, Mauna Kea and Hapuna Prince Beach Hotel. We had Maui Prince, and we had the Hawaii Prince Hotel here. And when I was asked to take over the hotels by the owner, I laid down two conditions for me to accept. Number one, I wanted to have the freedom to operate these hotels as we would operate them here in Hawaii, and not be told to operate in different kind of standards from outside of Hawaii. Secondly, I wanted to be sure that our personnel policies are such that we would take care of our people, and so that I wanted internal growth. I wanted people to dream about being a part of the organization, yes, that they could move up as opportunities presented. And I wanted that because I felt that the best person to let that people feel aloha spirit are the employees who come into contact with the tourists. When the tourists begin to feel, oh, gee, so-and-so by name, and they get to develop that relationship, they're going to want to come back. And so they had a nice time here in Hawaii. They were away from home, but they met friendly people. And that's what I think I tried to do when I was head of the Prince Resort. In the same fashion, I think that we need to have our employees become feeling that though they want to have the tourists come back, it's good for them. And therefore, when they are nice to them, extend that special aloha to the people, they're going to come back to Hawaii. And I think that's, to me, is a very important role. Now, when I was governor, I used to hear talk about, particularly from Japan, whenever we had these meetings, they would say, oh, you need more activities. And my response was, I want good quality experience when you come to Hawaii. I wanted to be able to relax. I wanted to enjoy the weather here. I wanted to be able to golf and do some of the things that you can do in Hawaii. But I don't want Hawaii to be honky-tonk. I don't want Hawaii to imitate what other places are and try to become like them, because then we lose the Hawaiian touch. And that's, to me, what I had to deal with when I was a governor. But I acknowledge the fact that we had to go out and move people, try to market and get people to come to Hawaii. In fact, I used to go sometimes to Japan to get people to come to Hawaii. And they would ask me, why are you coming now? Because times are good now. I tell them, yeah, times are good now. But I'm here to express my gratitude for the good times that we had and we are having now, because that's what we have to do. It's like any other kind of activity. You want somebody to come, you gotta be grateful for what you get, and you gotta say thank you to people.
Whoa, that's an interesting message for all of us. I think gratitude. You know, and I have not heard that before. Thank you. I think that's very insightful. A little bit about the experience in Hawaii. I believe I read an article that you wrote about capacity, the visitor capacity. Because at some point, you know, we know that tourism is our #1 economy, and I personally, since I've lived here, have become stronger believer that it will continue and always be our best economic driver is tourism, because we are so special. We're the farthest away from any place, and we got beautiful weather, beautiful people, beautiful everything. It's just such a precious jewel, and I think people in the world know that. I mean, they talk about that. But I know you wrote this article about visitor capacity. I mean, how many visitors do you have on any given day, on any given beach, in any given mall, to where there gets to be so many visitors that that local culture, the feel, the experience now shifts, because it becomes now an international experience instead of a Hawaii experience. Do you want to comment?
Yes.